Hey, y'all, it's time to wake up. I have Chanel Hampton of Strategic Community Partners, and I have Quan Neloms from Bow School, teacher at Bow School.
Indeed.
I got a problem. Okay. You know, African Americans and people of color make up over 50% of the students in education, okay, that are in the public school systems. But only 2% of the teachers are African American males. How do we fix that? How do we fix that, and why do we need to fix that? Since you're on the front lines, I want to ask you first, Quan. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So no, I think that one of the strategies is to activate Black men in the community as mentors and volunteers. That's inside of the school setting. It's something that you can ask very easily, and my experiences with asking Black men in Detroit to volunteer or to be mentors has been phenomenal. They step up to the plate. They're glad that you ask. My segue into teaching as a 18-year-old, I volunteered at a local school, Peter Vital School. My experiences there caused me to want to go into education. And I was asked, like, hey, have you thought about being a teacher? I was like, I never thought about it. Never even was approached by teachers to become a teacher. And so once I saw it, once I was involved, I was convinced that I needed to be a part of it. So I think that's one strategy, is to really grow and be intentional about having Black men as mentors and volunteers. I think another strategy is to really share the message that teaching is really a form of revolutionary action. You know,
teaching is a form of revolutionary action.
Oh yeah. So for instance, a Black man to become an educator, the impact that they have on schools, and particularly Black boys. We're not necessarily talking about pedagogy and being like some awesome superstar teacher. We're talking about just presence. Presence alone has shown to increase the achievements, and particularly of Black boys. And so it's revolutionary. It's a tremendous change. And so I think that couple that with well-trained teachers, those who have been mentored themselves on how to do this work and be impactful inside of schools, those things, first of all, it gives credence to the importance of the work. Right now we have this fervor, whether it's from athletics to hip hop, with the rash of police brutality, from starting with Trayvon Martin. There's been the results have been we have more socially minded people now, and they want to do something. And so becoming a teacher satisfies that itch, I believe, because you get a chance to be involved in the work of your community, because that's where our kids are majority of the time. And Frederick Douglass said himself, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. So that's the work. It's starting with our children, making sure that we're there to really share the truth of our history. I was a history teacher, and so I made it a point that, if anybody's going to teach our history, I should be the caretaker of doing that. And I made it my responsibility to do that. And so I think that as far as showing, having that conversation, no discussions, that, being a teacher is an easy way to, and it's not easy, but it's a simple way to satisfy that revolutionary itch that we see a lot of people have now.
Now, Ms. Hampton, you specialize in recruitment through Teach 313. How do you change recruitment to get more African American males into the teaching profession?
So I would argue that recruitment, whether you're talking about Detroit, which is a majority Black city, or Birmingham, which is clearly not, that we should approach recruitment the same regardless, because every child, whether they're Black or not, deserves to have a Black teacher at some point in their life. That's a fundamental belief that I have. I think that we also need to start earlier. So something that Quan shared, when we talk about career days at schools, like middle school, high school, you always have the doctor, the lawyer, the journalist. You never have anyone talking about
We just
teaching.
had a major mess in Saline where you had a parent say that the family should have stayed in Mexico. They were trying to have a diversity meeting. So you're saying even a school district like Saline deserves to have a Black teacher?
Yes. I think that when we talk about equity and inclusion, when we talk about diversity, every child deserves to be exposed to the real world. The real world is not white. It's not just white. It's not just black. It's a diverse collective. And so I also think about what teachers bring from all different backgrounds. And if we truly want to equip and evolve our society, we need to think about that in an evolved and strengthened way. I also think that we need to start talking to our youth earlier. So, the reality is, thank God someone, met Quan when he was 18, already studying engineering, and he was able to pivot. But why aren't we having that conversation sooner with our students? And so we're actually, tomorrow, Quan with In Demand is kicking off high school tours and talking to young black men. And so what we're actually doing through Teach 313 is having these conversations, doing high school tours across the city, across all districts, talking to young black men about teaching as a viable career and a thriving career. And then we're actually going to work with them this summer. We're partnering up with Grow Detroit's Young Talent. They will be paid for the summer for 2 months to engage in a training curriculum that exposes them to teaching. They'll also have the opportunity to be paid year round to be essentially like a teacher's assistant, for lack of a better word. We're going to mentor them, connect them with teachers for 4 years, and then we want them to go to a college or a school of education. And in 4 years, I want to see them back here teaching. So it's a long-term play, it's a 5-year play, but it's something that is how we can ensure that we have more black men who are also from Detroit, not going and leaving and teaching somewhere else, but even coming back here to the city. That's one powerful long-term strategy that I think about.
Okay. You all, I want to thank you for exposing me. Teaching is a revolution, and the whole thought that everyone deserves a black male teacher, I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, wake up.